right, guys, let's talk about this article. There's an article from CNBC a few days ago, which says Omicron COVID variant may have picked up a piece of the common cold virus. This paper was talked about in several other popular press articles. And here's the key points. The Omicron coronavirus variant likely acquired at least one of its mutations by picking up a snippet of genetic material from another virus, potentially one that causes the common cold. That is probably an overstatement. This genetic sequence does not appear in any earlier version of the coronavirus. True. By inserting this particular snippet in itself, Omicron might be making itself look more human, which would help it evade attack by the human immune system. Okay, that probably not true. All right, so here is, if you read the report, it just kind of goes into detail about those key points. Here's the actual paper. And what they're talking about is this insertion in the spike protein at position 214. And if you go to their figures, what they talk about is this. So what you're having is, this is the Omicron. This is SARS-CoV-2 sequences here. This is an HCOV-229E. So this is one of the coronaviruses that causes the common cold. And they're saying, so what they did is they looked for this sequence at the 214 position where the EPE is inserted. This is the sequence that generates the EPE, GAG, CCA, and GAA. So they did a search through all the known genomic libraries for this sequence. And they talk about it here. Okay, so they looked for this sequence. The insertion candidates are this and this. They looked for that, and they found that within the human genome, there were 763 hits. So this sequence appears 763 times within the human genome. And then when they searched against the coronavirus that causes the common cold, these are the 4 coronaviruses that cause the common cold right here. They got 709 hits. So a possibility is that when it was replicating the SARS-CoV-2 genome at this spot, it switched template. So it stopped reading this and started reading this template. So this template flips over, and you generate this sequence, the UUC. So this UC is the backwards, it's the complementary strand against AAG. So AAG, the complementary would be UUC. So CEC, like UUC, UUC, UGG, UGG, and CUC. So it kind of flips the template, and you could get this insertion by flipping that template. Or you could switch on to a human sequence like that. Now, to say that this makes the spike protein more human appearing is just, that's just crazy talk. Just because it uses like 3 codons from a human protein does not make it more human. It could be from anything else. It's the aggregate of the whole sequence that is very specific for the antigenic potential of this thing. So anyway, this point number 3 is kind of crazy. And if you read their paper, they make no mention of anything like that, of saying that using this insertion sequence would make it seem more human. I mean, the idea is that it would see the immune system would recognize this protein as self, and that's definitely not, probably true. Now, does it help do some kind of immune escape? Yes, but not through like self-recognition or other recognition. It probably does. This area is near the T cell epitope. So where the T cells recognize the spike protein. So it may evade previous T cell sensitization to that area. So if you had been infected with a previous variant and you had a T cell immunity against the previous variant, this insertion may help Omicron evade that previous immunity. But it's not because it recognizes it as human self. And then they said that this was likely acquired through genetic material from the common cold. No, it's not. I mean, there's nothing in this paper that gives a probability statement that was the case. It's saying that it's possible that might have happened, and possible does that mean like there's a 1 in a trillion chance it happened or a 1 in 10 chance it happened? They make no they give no probability statement in this paper, because if they did, people would probably question them on it. So they're saying that it is possible, and yes, this theory of template switching is possible, and that is a reasonable way that it might have gotten this insertion. But there are other ways that it could have happened as well. And so I think it's always funny when I read these popular press articles how they kind of overstate or misinterpret the actual paper. And this is one of the reasons I like to kind of look at the original paper on this channel, because in the original paper, when scientists talk to reporters, sometimes they like to talk and theorize, but when they write the paper, they are very precise about the language they use, and they don't like to go out on a limb too much. And so they wouldn't say things like this, that it becomes more human, or that it's likely that this has happened. They say it's possible that this happened, and they make no mention of it becoming more like a human protein, and the immune system thinking that it's a self protein rather than an other protein. Okay, so anyway, if you are interested, I mean, this is I don't know how relevant this paper is. It's an interesting paper, but we don't know for sure if this is the way the Omicron formed. And this only is a theoretical mechanism for for one of like the 36 plus mutations in the variant. It's not a way of explaining all the 36.